Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about visiting Disneyland in May because there is a ton going on in May. There's a lot you need to know about. We're going to talk about everything. Hi, I am Melissa with Mix Into Magic. I'm a Disneyland planning expert, and I am here to make your Disneyland vacation as easy and carefree as possible. So let's get going with Disneyland in May tips, tricks, crowd calendars, weather, Season of the Force, Star Wars night, Grad Nights. We're going to talk about it all. Let's get going. May is a great time to visit Disneyland because spring breaks are over, but summer hasn't officially begun yet. So crowds are going to be a little bit lower. And when I say crowds are going to be a little bit lower, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt because Disneyland's always crowded. That's how the Disneyland executives like it. They want their parks crowded. That's how they make money, and they do whatever they can to keep their parks crowded. But May is a little bit less crowded than spring break time or summer, but it's still going to be crowded. Let's just all understand that Disneyland is always crowded. So when I say less crowded, I don't mean no crowds. I just mean less. Before we get into that, though, I want to make sure that you don't pay full price for your Disneyland resort vacation. Oh, it makes me so sad when people pay full price because you really don't have to. Discounts are available. I haven't paid full price for a Disneyland vacation or a Disney World vacation, Universal, a cruise in a really long time because of Getaway Today. I am an affiliate with them, so I partner up with them so I can bring you the very best deals on your Disney park vacation. So their tickets are always discounted off the gate price. Always going to save money on their tickets. They have a buy 4-day, get the 5th day free ticket option, which is my favorite way because if I can get a free day at Disneyland, you better believe I am going to do it. They also have really, really great deals on hotels. They partner with over 40 hotels in the Anaheim area, and these are some really amazing hotels. I have toured at and stayed at many of them. They are amazing. Plus, a lot of them have a free night, like you'll stay 3 nights, get the 4th night free, stay 4 nights, get the 5th night free, something like that. I like to combine my free Disneyland ticket day with a free day at a hotel to save the most money. It makes me so happy. So make sure you check them out when you are booking your vacation because they can definitely save you money. I'm going to put a link down in the description. You can click on that or you can give them a call at 855-GETAWAY. Just make sure you tell them that Mix In Some Magic sent you for the very best rates. All right, I touched on it a tiny bit, but let's talk about crowds during May. Please don't let the idea of crowds on your Disney vacation scare you away or stress you out or make you nervous or make you not want to go. Because yes, the Disney parks are crowded, but that doesn't mean you can't still have an amazing time. Especially if you plan ahead, you have a good park strategy, you use tips like rope dropping and Genie Plus and Rider Switch, things like that. That will all help you have a great day at Disneyland even when it's crowded. And I have been able to get every single ride done in the Disneyland park in one day on a crazy crowded day. So it is possible if you have a good strategy. Plus, I feel like if you go into your Disney park vacation knowing that there's going to be crowds and knowing that you're still going to have a good time anyway, like having that mindset, I think makes a huge difference because you know it's going to be crowded, but you know you're still going to have fun instead of showing up and being like, oh my gosh, it's so crowded. This is the worst. We're not going to be able to do anything. How can these parks be so crowded? Look at all these people. They're ruining my trip. Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Maybe that's all true, except they're not going to ruin your trip. You're still going to have a great time. I promise. So just have a good attitude and embrace the crowds and know that you can still get everything done that you want to, especially if you are strategic. You're going to have a great time. That's what I'm saying. I'm like grabbing your head and I'm like shaking it gently, like not super hard, just gentle. You're going to have fun even with crowds. Pinky promise. Now, that being said, the end of May is going to be more crowded than the beginning of May. Just because the end of May, schools are starting to get out, people are starting to take their summer vacations. Beginning of May, spring breaks have just ended, and nobody is really taking their kids out of school for the very beginning of May when school's getting over soon and, they just had spring break. So the beginning of May will be a little less crowded than the end of May. I mean, marginally so. You probably wouldn't even know the difference unless you visited all the time. but still there will be a slight difference. So if you have the whole month of May to choose when your vacation will be, I would go earlier in May if possible. Now, of course, holidays like Memorial Day is going to be more crowded because people are out of school. Anytime your kids are out of school or you have off of work, just expect the parks to be more crowded on those times because other people also are off of school and work and will be visiting the parks. Now, Grad Nights are also happening in May, and those are more crowded in the evenings. During the early morning hours, you're not going to notice it as much. As the day goes on, you'll find more and more grads, more and more high school seniors showing up at the parks, and can make those days a little bit more crowded, especially in the evenings. Now, we're going to talk more about that in a couple of minutes. Let's talk about weather in May. I love the weather at Disneyland in May. It is, for the most part, beautiful. Just nice and sunny, not too hot and not too cold and not too rainy. It's usually perfect. And my idea of perfect might be different than your idea of perfect, but I like mid-70s, and then I like it cooler at night so I can wear a Disney hoodie because Disney hoodies are my favorite. So that's my idea of perfect, but I think most people really enjoy the weather in May. Now, average high in May is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The average low is 55 degrees Fahrenheit. But of course, we all know that weather is unpredictable, so make sure you keep an eye on your weather app as you are leading up to your trip so that you're prepared. If there is a rainstorm in the forecast, I want you to make sure you have everything you need so that you can be prepared and still enjoy yourself no matter what the weather. If it's going to be extra hot, you're going to need to be prepared for that. If it's sunny, you're going to need sunscreen, those kinds of things. So keeping an eye on the weather is very important, so make sure you do that. Let's talk about ride closures in May, because unfortunately Disney does close down rides often for maintenance, and a lot of people get really annoyed and really frustrated by this. I don't know, what's the alternative? Don't close them down, don't do maintenance, and then they're not safe, and then they shut down for longer to fix them. I mean, it's kind of a necessary evil. I don't know what to tell you. Some rides are going to be closed probably anytime you visit Disneyland for maintenance. So let's talk about what's going to be closed in May. Redwood Creek Challenge Trail over in DCA is closed during the month of May. We don't have a reopening date on that one yet. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is also closed during the month of May. No reopening date for that attraction either. The Matterhorn Bobsleds is going to be closed just for a couple of days at the beginning of May. It will reopen May 3rd. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is closed. We don't have a reopening date for that one yet. Haunted Mansion is closed. We are assuming it will reopen in the fall, along with Halloween time, the kickoff of Halloween time. They're redoing the queue for that attraction, so it's closed for a really long time while they redo that. But on the Disneyland website, it does say that Haunted Mansion will be returning for Halloween season with Haunted Mansion Holiday. So I'm assuming it will be August 23rd. I don't know that for sure, but that's when Halloween time kicks off, so I'm assuming it will be up and running by then. We will see. And also, Splash Mountain is closed for re-theming. It's scheduled to open as Tiana's Bayou Adventure sometime in late 2024. We don't have a reopening date for that yet, but of course, I will let you know. If you're not following me over on Instagram, make sure you do. I'll put a link in the description as well so you can check out all the up-to-date information that comes out on things like that. Let's talk about some events that are happening in May. Mother's Day is happening in May, and Mother's Day is kind of a big deal at Disneyland, and Disneyland celebrates Mother's Day, which is kind of fun. So when you arrive first thing in the morning on Mother's Day, then they have these cute little signs set up that say Happy Mother's Day, and then they have tables full of carnations and a little pin that you can pin a carnation onto your mom's shirt. So that's pretty cute. I've been there on Mother's Day before. It's lots of fun. Mother's Day is big for reservations because a lot of people like to take their moms to Disneyland for brunch or lunch or dinner, and dining reservations will book up quicker than they would normally because of the holiday. So if you are wanting to take your mom to a special restaurant, or just your family, you'd like to take them to a special restaurant on Mother's Day, make sure you book your dining reservations in advance. You can book dining reservations 60 days in advance, but they will book up quickly, especially for the more popular ones. Now, here's a little tip. If you're having a hard time booking those dining reservations, you're just not finding the availability that you want to, you can use Mouse Dining. This is kind of like my secret weapon for booking dining reservations. They are really awesome. You just tell them where you want to dine, when, and how many people you have, and then they'll send you a notification when that dining reservation becomes available. So you don't have to keep checking the Disneyland website or the Disneyland app every 15 minutes, hoping that someone drops the reservation so that you can pick it up. They'll just send you a notification. You can get on there, book it, and it's worked really well for me. I've had a lot of success with that. So I'm going to put a link down there in the show notes so that you can check them out as well. Now, on Mother's Day, you might see some famous mothers out and about. I have seen the Wicked Stepmother and stepdaughters from Cinderella out on Mother's Day. Those seem to be popular ones. So you might see some of them wandering around. Grad Nights at Disneyland in May are a big deal, and they give people a lot of anxiety. And I don't blame you, because the first time I was attending Disneyland on a grad night, I was nervous about it. Because in my mind, then we were going to be having this fun family day at Disneyland, and as the day turned into evening, then these hordes of crazy teenagers were going to descend on the parks and be wild and out of control, and it was just going to ruin our trip. That's what I thought. Totally the opposite, though. I have been many nights when it's been a grad night at Disneyland in May or June, and it's really not bad. All of these students who attend grad night have to go with their school, so they all have chaperones. You can't just show up to grad night as an individual person and be like, I want a ticket to grad night. Nope, you can't do that. They all have to be purchased through a school. Chaperones are supposed to be there, so the school has to send a certain amount of chaperones with the students, and I have found the students to be really fun. They're having a great time. They've all been really respectful. It has felt more crowded, especially in the afternoon and evenings on those days that I've been there for grad night, but it hasn't felt out of control. Now, on grad nights, the students have options for different tickets. So some will just have tickets for grad night that happens over in California Adventure. So California Adventure will close early on grad nights. Some will have a park hopper ticket, so they can go to Disneyland and California Adventure both during the day. Kind of just depends on what their school decides to purchase. But over at Disneyland, it definitely started feeling more crowded during the day. Now, if you have a park hopper ticket, I would for sure start over at California Adventure that day, because if the grads have a park hopper ticket, they're going to have Disneyland California Adventure to themselves in the evening. So they will for sure start over at Disneyland and get everything done over there, and then hop over to California Adventure. So if you are just doing one park per day and you are scheduled for a California Adventure day on that day, I don't think I would worry about it too much, because it's going to be fairly low crowds in the morning and early afternoon, and you'll be able to get a lot done. And then by the time the grads start coming in, you'll probably be finishing your day anyway, and it really doesn't close that much earlier than it regularly does. And at that point, you could hop over to Disneyland or go hang out at Downtown Disney, or you could head back to your hotel for swimming and an early bedtime night, and that is not the worst thing in the world. So I have really not found grad nights to affect my trips that much. I hope that gives you some peace of mind. Obviously, if you have options to schedule when it's not a grad night, it's probably a great idea. But if you are scheduled on a grad night, don't stress. It's going to be fine. Grad nights in May are May 10th, 14th, 15th, 17th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, 28th, and 31st. I'm going to have a full grad night video coming out soon with more tips and helpful information. Another thing that's happening at Disneyland in May is Season of the Force. Season of the Force is a huge Star Wars celebration that starts April 5th and ends June 2nd. There's lots of fun things going on as part of this celebration, and if you are a Star Wars fan, you're going to be very, very happy to be visiting during Season of the Force. Of course, there is Galaxy's Edge, which is so cool, and they have all the Star Wars rides. There's Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run, Millennium Falcon. There's also Star Tours, which this year has some new scenes that are based on the Star Wars saga. They have new characters and some new locations, which is pretty cool. Because the cool thing about Star Tours is every time you ride, you have the chance to get a different video. So they have a bunch of different video combinations, and you're just not sure which one you're going to get. So that's pretty fun. Maybe my favorite part of Season of the Force at Disneyland is Hyperspace Mountain. There is an overlay that goes over Space Mountain that makes it Star Wars themed, and it is so fun. I personally feel like it's better as Hyperspace Mountain than it is as the regular Space Mountain, and I wish they would keep it Hyperspace Mountain all the time because it is so much fun. And I feel like the ride kind of makes more sense. You've got the Star Wars music and you've got the spaceship flying around, shooting things. I don't really know the technical terms for these spaceship TIE fighters. That just popped in my head. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, obviously I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but I do enjoy Season of the Force at Disneyland, and I really, really enjoy Hyperspace Mountain. There is a new fireworks show happening during Season of the Force over in Batuu, which is Galaxy's Edge. It's called Fire of the Rising Moons, and you can watch fireworks from Batuu and hear some different music, which is going to be pretty cool. So that's a pretty awesome thing. If you're a Star Wars fan, you should definitely check that out. They have a little game that they're calling Seek and Find, where you can locate coded cylinders throughout Black Spire Outpost to uncover code words and receive a themed keepsake. I don't really know 100% what that is. I probably won't be participating in that, but if you have kids that are like Star Wars crazy, you might want to check that out. There's also, of course, tons and tons of themed food, which is so fun. I love the Disneyland themed food for their events. There's going to be lots of Star Wars themed food, and it's Disneyland, so they're going to have amazing themed merchandise and souvenirs. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to find something perfect to take home. I am confident. If you're not a Star Wars fan, you still might find something, and I know you're still probably going to have fun. I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but I still love Season of the Force at Disneyland. I did make up a free printable bucket list for Season of the Force. You can make sure you don't miss anything. I'll put a link to that in the description as well, so you can print it out before your visit. Another thing that is happening in May, kind of coinciding with Season of the Force, is Star Wars Nights. Star Wars Nights are an after-hours specially ticketed event that happens over at Disneyland. So on nights that Star Wars Night is happening, then the Disneyland park will close early and just be open for people who have tickets to Star Wars Night. I've never been to Star Wars Night, but this year is my first time. I'm going to go check it out, and I'm pretty excited because there's lots of fun things that happen over at Disneyland as part of Star Wars. So, of course, they still have all the attractions open. You can still ride on everything, but then they have some special things like character experiences, fireworks, photo ops, dancing, event-themed menus, and entertainment, including March of the First Order. They also have special Star Wars Night only themed merchandise, things like that. It sounds pretty fun. I've been to after-hours parties before, and I really like them because they are less crowded than normal days at Disneyland, so I'm looking forward to it. Star Wars Nights in May are May 2nd, 7th, and 9th. I will be there on the 9th, and I'm actually going to be doing a little strategy testing because a lot of people, when they find out that an after-hours event is happening when they are visiting on one of their park days, then they feel pretty bummed. I'm going to do some strategy testing and see how many rides I can get done if I don't do the Star Wars Night stuff and I just go on ride. So I'm going to see. I have it in my mind that I want to do every single ride at Disneyland in those few hours. So the party starts at 9. It goes from 9 p.m. till 1 a.m. I can get into the park at 6. And I'm going to see how much I can get done. I'm super excited about it. I think it will be fun and valuable because if I'm able to get on a ton of rides during that time, then some people might want to consider doing an after-hours event, even if they don't care about that event, simply to go on the attractions with very little wait. So I will let you know how it goes. I'm excited about it. The last thing I want to talk about is Pixar Fest, which kicks off April 26th and lasts all summer long until August 4th. So if you're visiting in May, you're going to be hitting Pixar Fest, which looks like so much fun. As part of Pixar Fest celebration, there is a new fireworks show called Together Forever, a Pixar nighttime spectacular. There's also a new parade, the Better Together Pixar Pals celebration. That parade happens over in California Adventure Park. There's something they're calling Club Pixar over in Hollywoodland. at the Hollywood Backlot. Feel the magic of Pixar come to life with music, dancing, and more at this high-energy party. So that sounds pretty fun. There's also going to be a party in Fantasyland Theater at the Disneyland Park. It's going to be kind of transformed into a fun zone where they're going to have music and little videos playing. Looks like some little activities for your kids, so that might be fun to check out as well. Of course, as part of the Pixar Fest, they're going to have all kinds of yummy themed foods. They're going to have merchandise, of course, because that's what Disney does, and tons of character meet and greets. All your favorite Pixar characters are going to be able to see them out and about around the parks and get your pictures with them. Fun things like that. So I might do a whole video on Pixar Fest. We'll see if there's enough interest. It sounds like a pretty fun party. And I almost forgot to mention that Fantasmic is returning. The nighttime entertainment Fantasmic is returning on May 24th. If you remember, the dragon caught on fire a while back, and we haven't had Fantasmic for a really long time, but it's coming back. I'm super excited to see the new show. I think it will be mostly the same, but there's going to be some changes. It'll be fun to check that out. So if you're going to be there the end of May, make sure you check out Fantasmic. If you are feeling a bit overwhelmed about visiting Disneyland in May, never fear. I have created touring plans to help you out. So I have touring plans with Genie Plus. I have touring plans without Genie Plus, and they give you a step-by-step guide to your day. Like I say, arrive at this time, book this Genie Plus Lightning Lane, ride on this ride. Really step-by-step to make your Disney day easy, because a lot of people want to go to Disneyland, but they don't have the stress of like trying to figure out where they're going to go next, or, trying to figure out a park strategy so they don't wait in lines forever. That is my main goal, to make your trip easy, stress-free, and I want you to wait in lines as little as possible, because no one wants to spend their vacation waiting in long lines. So that is the goal of my touring plan. You don't have to worry about anything. You just follow the plan, don't wait in line very long, and you don't have any stress. So if that sounds good to you, check out my touring plans. I'm going to put a link down below as well for those. Make sure you're subscribed, because I have a lot of helpful Disneyland planning videos coming soon, and you're not going to want to miss them, because you need these tips to make your Disneyland vacation the very, very best that it can be. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.